At 0500 hours on June 6, 1944, Oberleutnant Fritz Bayerlein stood in a concrete bunker overlooking Omaha Beach, peering through the morning fog across the English Channel. The Normandy coast was shrouded in mist, the air heavy with the salt tang of the sea and the distant rumble of naval guns. Waves crashed against the engineered obstacles, Czech hedgehogs and Belgian gates that his engineers had planted to shred any invasion force. Bayerlein could not see the Allied armada assembling offshore, but he knew it was coming. It did not matter. They would not last long on the beaches. He had studied the enemy for years. Every Wehrmacht officer knew what the Germans believed about American soldiers and their equipment. They were soft, pampered by their wealthy nation, armed with gimmicky weapons from assembly lines that prioritized quantity over quality. German intelligence assessments were scathing. The new American M1 Garand rifle was, in their exact words, a clumsy semi-automatic toy, prone to jams, unreliable in mud and rain, and no match for the precision-engineered Mauser Karabiner 98K. Bayerlein himself had laughed in briefings, calling the Garand a rifle for cowboys, not soldiers. His men needed no reassurance. They were veterans of the Eastern Front, hardened by Stalingrad winters and Kursk summers, equipped with the K-98, bolt-action perfection, accurate to 500 meters, reliable in any condition. They had never known defeat against such decadent foes. The Oberleutnant was so confident in German superiority that he had dismissed reports of American firepower. His orders from Rommel were clear: hold the beaches, mow down the invaders with machine guns and rifles. Why bother with elaborate fallbacks? His Mauser-armed infantry would turn the sand red before the Americans could advance 100 meters. By noon, the invasion would be a graveyard of Allied hopes. By nightfall, the remnants would flee back to their ships, where U-boats would finish the job. Bayerlein checked his binoculars one final time. Today, the Atlantic Wall would hold. What happened over the next 24 hours and across the brutal campaigns that followed shattered everything the Wehrmacht believed about infantry warfare. By the time the sun set on D-Day, thousands of German defenders lay dead or captured. In hedgerow fights, urban battles, and frozen forests, the M1 Garand outshot the Mauser at every turn. The myth of German rifle superiority, cultivated through years of blitzkrieg victories, lay broken in the blood-soaked fields of Europe. The story of how the clumsy American toy humbled the vaunted Mauser begins not on Normandy's beaches, but 3,000 miles away in a Canadian immigrant's workshop 2 decades earlier. In 1919, John Cantius Garand, a French-Canadian toolmaker who had emigrated to the U.S. as a boy, joined the Springfield Armory in Massachusetts. The U.S. Army sought a semi-automatic rifle to replace the bolt-action M1903 Springfield. Faster fire, more rounds downrange, without sacrificing accuracy or reliability. Garand, a self-taught genius with a passion for machinery, tinkered relentlessly. By 1924, he had prototypes. By 1936, after endless tests and refinements, the M1 Garand was adopted. The rifle was revolutionary. Gas-operated semi-auto, chambered in .30-06 Springfield, fed by an 8-round en-bloc clip that ejected with a distinctive ping when empty. It weighed 9.5 pounds, fired at 40 to 50 rounds per minute practically, accurate to 400 yards, no manual bolt cycling, pull the trigger and it reloaded itself. Early issues like gas port problems were fixed. By WW2, it was rugged, reliable in dust, mud, snow. German spies dismissed it in pre-war reports, overcomplicated, jam-prone in combat. The Mauser K98K, shortened from the Gewehr 98 of WW1, was bolt-action simplicity, 5-round stripper clip, 7.92 by 57 mm Mauser cartridge, deadly accurate to 500 meters with iron sights. Wehrmacht doctrine prized marksmanship, 1 well-aimed shot per target. Semi-autos for weak armies, compensating for poor training. They were catastrophically wrong. By 1942, as American forces entered North Africa in Operation Torch, the Garand equipped most U.S. infantry. In Tunisia's hills, GIs faced Afrika Korps veterans with K-98s. Germans sniped from ridges, one shot at a time. Americans answered with rapid semi-auto fire, 8 rounds in seconds, suppressing, advancing. At Kasserine Pass, green U.S. troops learned hard lessons, but Garands allowed squads to lay down volumes of fire the bolt-action Mausers couldn't match. Reloading the K-98 meant stripping clips under fire. Garand's clip loaded fast, rifle-ready, instantly. Captured Germans mocked at first, "Your ping rifle gives away empty magazines," but in close quarters, the Garand's rate of fire overwhelmed. One GI squad could outshoot 2 German ones, 16 rounds versus 10 before reloads. Accuracy? The M1's sights and stability matched the K-98 at combat ranges, under 300 yards. Power? .3006 punched through cover better than 7.92 mm in some tests. The real shock came in Sicily and Italy. In mountainous terrain around Salerno and Anzio, Wehrmacht defenders dug in with Mausers and MG-42s. American assaults faltered under withering fire, but when GIs closed, Garands turned the tide. Semi-auto allowed suppressive fire while maneuvering. Bolt actions forced pauses. Sergeant Audie Murphy, future Medal of Honor recipient, used his Garand to deadly effect, firing rapid, aimed shots that dropped Germans before they could cycle bolts. By D-Day, June 6, 1944, the Garand was standard. On Omaha Beach, under Oberlieutenant Bayerlein's guns, Rangers and infantry stormed ashore. Machine guns raked the ramps, but survivors with Garands returned fire fast. Ping, reload, ping. In the bocage hedgerows of Normandy, close-range ambushes favored the semi-auto. Americans could snap off 8 rounds, while Germans managed 2 to 3. Captured documents revealed German panic. The American rifle fires without stopping. Our men are outgunned in every skirmish. The Hürtgen Forest in fall 1944 amplified the advantage. Dense woods, mud, rain, conditions where the Mauser's reliability shone, but Garand's semi-auto allowed quick follow-ups on moving targets. Germans, low on ammo, conserved shots. Americans poured lead. One veteran recalled, "They'd fire once, we'd fire 8, then charge while they reloaded." The ultimate test, Battle of the Bulge, December 1944. Arctic cold, snowdrifts, temperatures plunged to -20 degrees Fahrenheit. Mausers froze less often, but Garands, with proper lubrication, functioned. In Bastion's siege, 101st Airborne held with Garands against SS Panzer Grenadiers. Rapid fire repelled human wave assaults. The ping became a signal to reload under cover. Germans, expecting easy victories, faced walls of 30-06 slugs. By January 1945, the offensive collapsed, Garands outshooting Mausers in foxholes and villages. Personal stories drive it home. Private First Class Frank "Buck" Eversole, 1st Infantry Division, landed on Omaha. His Garand jammed once in sand, but cleared fast. He fired 8 rounds into a pillbox slit, silencing an MG. "The Krauts with their bolts couldn't keep up," he said post-war. On the German side, Gefreiter Hans Schultz, 352nd Division, survived Normandy. In letters home, "The Army's rifles bark like machine guns. 1 man equals 3 Rs." Captured Wehrmacht reports begged for semi-autos like the FG-42 or STG-44, but too few, too late. The Garand's edge, firepower. Semi-auto meant sustained volleys, 8-round clip versus 5-round stripper. Both accurate, but Garand reloaded faster. Clip insert versus individual rounds. In squad fights, U.S. infantry output doubled German, decisive in World War II's attritional warfare. By 1945, as Allies crossed the Rhine, Germans surrendered en masse, many coveting captured Garands. Post-war, the Bundeswehr adopted semi-autos. The Mauser era ended.
The rifle Germans laughed at became the greatest battle implement ever devised, as General Patton called it. From beaches to Berlin, the M1 Garand didn't just outshoot the Mauser, it won the infantry war.